In this video, I want to introduce to you another amazing tool that I use for myself and in my work with clients, and it's called the Emotional Freedom Technique, also called tapping and EFT for short. A few caveats before I explain this. So it's an amazing technique. It encourages getting in touch with a level of discomfort that you're having. You can call it discomfort, problem, whatever. And it can generate more of those uncomfortable feelings. So if you're someone who's easily dysregulated, if you're working with a therapist, you are experiencing the impacts of trauma that hasn't been fully processed, please do consult with your therapist first, or a physician if you're being monitored by a physician. This is not meant to replace any of that. I just want to teach this tool because when used properly, although it's very flexible, but I think there's more helpful and less helpful ways to use it. But my background is as a therapist, although I'm not offering this video as a therapist. I have seen people really experience some discomfort, and when not working with someone or feeling safe to use a new tool like EFT, you can really ramp up and feel uncomfortable and maybe even unsafe in your body. So just wanted to say that. Just take responsibility for your own well-being. Just see what feels right and good to you, and I'll describe it, and yeah, we'll go from there. So I'm going to make another video about more of the details about how it came to be and how it works. But the really short version of it for this video is that we have several, probably hundreds of meridian points throughout our body. And with EFT, we're tapping with our fingers on the end points of these meridians. And when we do that, while acknowledging and focusing on some kind of discomfort, physical, emotional, sometimes it can be in our thoughts, and tapping at the same time, we are bringing that to a closer awareness. And basically, from my perspective, telling the sensation, I see you, I feel you. And very often what we're trying to do is make it go away. So I've focused a lot over the years with people with high levels of anxiety, and I've struggled with that too. And it's often, the way it might look is, even though I'm feeling anxious, and we want it to go away, it's like, I want to feel calm now. The way I like to teach it is to really just validate what you are feeling, not with the intention to make it go away. I know that's what we want, but the anxiety is showing up for a reason. And sometimes there's things underneath that, other emotions, there's always beliefs underneath everything, beliefs about who we are, how we feel about ourselves, and that ultimately does generate feelings. And the feelings related to I'm not good enough, or I don't feel like I am liked or supported unconditionally and loved, and all those things. And so those are the things that in my one-on-one work, I'm helping people to try to work through. Okay, so in this video, here we go. So the way it's going to look is you're going to acknowledge what you feel. I like to start with a really simple example, and that is tuning into a physical sensation in your body. So I'm going to use one that often is that I experience. So when I get anxious, it usually shows up right here in my chest. And you have a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, and tune in to that sensation, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it doesn't have a name. So if it has a name, you can call it something like anxiety, or it can just be, I have this tightness in my chest. Give it a rating on the 1 to 10 scale. 10's like the most highest intense level you could imagine. And 1 is it's just mildly there. And write that down, because you're going to check before and after. And so now the way it looks is you create a setup statement. So tapping on the side of the hand 3 times, we use this statement, and I'll give you the example that I like to start with. Even though I feel this anxiety, my chest is tight, I honor and acknowledge this is what I'm feeling. Now, the second part, all the words are flexible. The second part of that is a positive affirmation. And like I said, starting with a focus on, oh, I'm anxious. just acknowledging it's there. You can switch the words. Now, if you don't want to honor that it's there, you can say, I'm trying to honor that it's there. It's amazing how you can just add one word and it changes the meaning. But if you feel resistance to any of the words, you want to change them to work for you. So the second time we say it, even though I feel anxious, I have this tightness in my chest, I honor that this is just what I'm feeling right now. Even though I feel anxious, sitting in my chest, I acknowledge and honor that this is just what I'm feeling right now. And then here are the points, and then you're going to abbreviate, and this is what it looks like, this anxiety. And you can just alternate. You don't have to get like creative or keep changing it. This tightness in my chest, inside eyebrow, outside of the eyes, the next point. This tightness in my chest, underneath the eye. This anxiety, under the nose. This anxiety. Chin point, this tightness in my chest. Collarbone, I like to use, by the way, 2 hands I think is ideal because you're getting the whole left and right, except for these 2 points where there's no room for 2 hands, but the collarbone, it's nice to really hit this whole area. It's a very powerful area to hit. All this anxiety in my chest. And then under the arm is the last one I'm going to show for right now. This is the basic recipe for EFT. All this anxiety. And then if it feels okay for you, you can pause and take a breath. Imagine as you're releasing, you're just having a reset. So now tune into the discomfort. And with the example of anxiety in my chest, and I didn't give a number to it actually, but I would have normally. So let's say it was a 7 and now it's a 4. You can continue, even though I still feel this anxiety. And let's pretend it's still in my chest and it's all lighter. Now it's, like I said, a level 4. So it all feels about the same. It's just lighter in intensity. It's not so intense, not so heavy. Even though I feel this anxiety, I honor this is what I'm feeling. Even though I still feel this anxiety sitting in my chest, I honor that this is what I'm feeling. Even though I still feel anxious and it's tight in my chest, I honor that this is just what I'm feeling right now. And then another round, this anxiety, this tightness in my chest, this anxiety, this tightness in my chest, this anxiety, this tightness in my chest, this anxiety, this tightness in my chest. Take a breath if it feels safe to do so. And now 0 to 10. Am I still feeling anxious? If you got to a 0, and you could stop at any time, because if you were at anything above a 7 and up's pretty high. And if you get down to a 4 and that's all you have time for, great. Like, it's just a really flexible tool. Excuse me. It's such a flexible tool. And just use your internal guidance system as far as, it would feel good to do another round. Now, often what happens is the focus can shift, meaning maybe you were anxious, then you got sad, or then maybe anger came up. And when something new comes up, you can literally pause and restart. And I'll be doing some other videos talking more about this, but you can just start again. And if you start to have tears, that's a 10 out of a 10 on that intensity scale. And just tap. Don't worry about words, just tap. And you can do that. Like if you're somewhere and you get really angry about something, really frustrated, you can just start tapping, just focusing. The reason why we speak it out loud is to stay focused. It's amazing. The brain can go 100 miles an hour, if not faster. And if we don't say it out loud, it's going so fast and shifting the focus that it's hard for this to keep up with what am I focusing on. But any level of tapping is usually more helpful than not tapping at all. Unless, as I said with the piece earlier, that you get so ramped up that you can't tolerate the feelings in your body. Then this would not be a good tool for you right now. Maybe the heart coherence could be. But there's many tools out there, and some people just don't feel safe being in their body, focusing on their body. And so follow what feels safe for you. Consult with supportive folks that you're working with, and always just follow the body. But it's not going to be comfortable tuning into these feelings, and they're likely feelings that you haven't attended to for a long time, or maybe not ever. When I meet women for the first time and we're working on stress and anxiety and what's getting them kind of ramped up, they're living in their head. So what I teach is getting out of the head. But what I love about EFT is it just validates wherever you're at. You're not okay because you're anxious. You're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with you, but we feel like there is because we don't feel at ease. And yes, we want to feel at ease, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what's so cool is by just honoring what's there and finding some curiosity about it. And we can't do that if we're afraid and we're so ramped up that we can't even get grounded. So it's a process. So start wherever you're at. If you start with a couple minutes, great. I do teach this one-on-one to people as well. I'm looking at, the potential of forming some groups. It can be very powerful in groups because when we're all tapping together, even if we're focusing on one person, there's a vicarious kind of benefit that happens. So we all benefit. It's all that energy. There's no limits, not even from long distance. So you could be across the world and benefit working with someone even online with this tool. So please post questions and curiosities. And thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.